the Experience Pros radio show, home of the original Fan Braggin' Fridays. Take just 20 seconds to become a business revolutionary by sharing a Fan Braggin' story of great customer service by using the hashtag FanBrag or calling the Fan Braggin' hotline at 855-FAN-BRAG, FANBRAG. Now back to Angel and Eric, the Experience Pros.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. It's time to take a look at your vision.
We have vision. Yes, we do, or at least we think we do. Our next guest is Carrie Conley, vision expert. She believes that everyone has a special mission to accomplish while we are alive on this planet. And whether we believe it to be true or not, a lot of times it's simply because we stopped listening to our inner voice. Here to talk about vision, get us on track before the end of the year. Carrie Conley, welcome to Experience Pros.
Carrie, are you with us? All right, we're going to work on that and see if we've got her. Try it again. Carrie, are you there?
I'm here.
There you are. Hi. Very nice to have you along with us, Carrie. Sometimes the technical issues. We're doing fantastic, and it's very nice to have you along. It's Q4.
It's Q4.
Right?
It's like way into Q4.
Yeah, we are. We're kind of deep in. We're kind of deep into it already, and just about to end this last year. And I know that how we end this year will dictate how we begin next year. How do we help people get unstuck if that's where they're at right now, Carrie?
Yeah, I say this a lot, and it is so true that so many people right now are nowhere near the goals they set at the beginning of the year. Probably haven't even looked at them in a long time. Maybe even gave up before Q4 started. But unfortunately, what I know from being an entrepreneur and running two businesses for almost 25 years now is, this is where we separate the men from the boys right now. Is those people. The 98% have given up, washed their hands of it, said, you know what, it's the holidays, and I'm just going to take it easy because I just don't have the time right now to do it, and I'll wait until January 1 to dust off that goal and try again. And it is the worst thing you can do.
And yet we see this all the time. This is pretty rampant that, okay, I'll just stop now and I'll just pick it back up. And I will pick it up in January. Carrie, talk about why that is so dangerous for thinking.
Well, because it becomes a pattern. It becomes, I said this yesterday on a live that I did on Facebook, that the problem with it is that if you are already thinking that way, I guarantee you will do it again next year. It's not that this year was any different than last year or that next year is going to be any different than this year. There's always going to be stuff. Small stuff and big stuff, there's always going to be stuff. So the problem is when people start saying, well, this year wasn't my year, this happened and that happened and, all sorts of things. And they're blaming things that they should not be blaming. And the truth is that the problem is not any of those things. The problem is us. And so if you've already given up on you, I guarantee you're going to do it again. That's the real problem.
That's pretty in your face, Carrie, and I'm not sure that. but I appreciate it because sometimes you got to have one of those Cher moonstruck moments, right? The slap across the face that says, "Hey, snap out of it," and you're dishing it up the way that it needs to be dished up. You have a formula, and I'm going to bring it to you, and then kind of ask you to kind of flesh it out for us, if you will. You talk about clarity on vision. In order to stay focused, balanced, and super productive equals income. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, if we're talking to entrepreneurs right now, which is most of your listeners, we're talking about bottom line. And obviously, I've coached thousands of them over the past 25 years. And what I'm seeing overall is that most people, because they have a wishy-washy vision, are not making money. They're running really expensive hobbies. They're the busiest broke people I know. And so
it's
the truth. I said that once in a seminar for the first time. It just came right out of my mouth and everybody laughed and went, oh my God, that's so me. Because it's so true. So here's the test I give people, because really, if you ask somebody, do you have a very clear vision for your life and your business? And I use timelines. As you guys know, I use a target when I walk people through a workshop of 3 years from now. Do you have an idea of what you want this to look like 3 years from now? And most people will look at me, square in the face, and they truly mean it and say yes. But the next test I give them is, if I were to ask you right now to show me that written, clear, detailed vision, timelined, every little aspect of what you want your life and your business to look like, including your income, that they cannot produce.
Oh, no, it's not written.
Yeah.
No, I got it right up here, Carrie.
No. That's right. It's floating around in here. I kind of have an idea. And this is the number one reason why most entrepreneurs are running really expensive hobbies, because you cannot lay down a mathematical, quantitative business plan without the vision first. It's not possible.
You know what? And I think that we often think that we can skip that step because we're busy and we've got the checklist, we've got the to-do list, and we think we can totally skip the step of having that vision. But when something derails us, when, the weather shifts, the holiday comes, whatever excuse happens, if that vision isn't written down, we'll stop doing it, and then we'll blame those outer circumstances, right?
That's right, because it's easier to blame everything else, and unfortunately, we live in a culture that feeds that, right? Well, it's okay, you're right, it wasn't your year, and I know you've got a lot of stuff going on, and we see it over and over and over again, and that's why I'm getting in people's faces, you guys, because enabling has become a really big epidemic in our culture. And there is a fine line between empowerment and enabling. And an empowerer, if that's a word, empowerer.
Okay.
One who empowers.
Says, yeah, thank you. Says, this is the truth. And as a coach, you are not a very good coach and a mentor if you can't lovingly, and this is dealt with a lot of love, because truly I say these things because I care so much about people's lives and their bottom line. If I didn't care, I wouldn't bother. I'd pat them on the head and say, you know what, you're doing fine. Just take the year off and come back, and lie to them. And that's not what it's about. And, the bottom line is that we all need to feed our families, and we all need to prepare for impact, because you don't know what's going to happen. And most people think nothing bad is ever going to happen to them.
Yeah.
We just live in a lot of denial. And the bank account is a clear reflection of how strong your vision really is.
Interesting.
Wow.
Right? And that again, in our face, your bank account is a strong reflection of how big your vision, how big your dream is, how bad do you really want it? We're talking with Carrie Conley, the vision expert. You can find her online at carrieconley.com, carrieconley.com. And Carrie, I know that you have trained hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of people when it comes to vision. And for so many of us, if you are wondering, just feeling a little lost, feeling stuck, or as if you don't have that mojo to push you through the end of the year, Carrie, what's the best way for people to connect with you, follow you, and get involved with your programs?
Sure. So obviously I'm all over all the social media, but Facebook seems to be my personal favorite. And so I've been getting on live daily right now, dropping a lot of truth bombs this time of year.
Okay.
And I'm going to do a webinar later this month that I'm going to post in a few days, entitled Get a Real Vision. So the best way to really connect with me and to start seeing those lives and watch for that post is on Facebook, and it's just my personal name, Carrie Conley.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. So Carrie, final tip today for somebody who's just really struggling, or maybe even a little heads up to what your next little truth bomb might be in your video series this week.
I think the biggest thing is that people just need to really get true with themselves and look in the mirror and 100% say, I am the problem, bottom line. But the good news is you're also the one who can fix it.
Yeah, you're also the solution. I love this, Carrie. I used to be a magician, and I would videotape myself performing, and then I would go back over those tapes and talk about painful to watch. It's a wonder that anybody ever hired me a second time. But if you can own that, then you can fix it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the first step, is you have to get out of denial. If you're still in denial, nothing else I say or do is going to matter. But the first step is we have to be willing, and it's a very humbling experience, because I've had people do it for me, say, we think you might be the problem. And so I've had to look at myself and go, you know what? I do need some things I need to work on. But it's magical once you really accept it all and really go to work on yourself. What happens?
That is so true.
Mm-hmm.
That is so true. So if you find yourself repeating the same patterns, you're here the same place you were last year, and you don't really see something shifting, this is where Carrie Conley is an expert at helping you get super clear on your vision. Carrie Conley, love having you on the show with us. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hey, love you guys. Have a great day.
We can't help it. CarrieConley.com. That's CarrieConley.com. Get your vision straight. We'll be back right after these messages. You're listening to Angel Tussey and Eric Kramer. This is the home of positive business talk.
The Experience Pros, revolutionizing the way people treat people in business.